Ferguson, Missouri Police Chief Tom Jackson has released a video addressing what happened in the Michael Brown shooting and the aftermath. And it's interesting to see what he has to say 6 weeks after the shooting occurred. Take a look.
As many of you know, my name is Tom Jackson, and I'm the Chief of Police of the City of Ferguson. The events of the past few weeks have sent shockwaves not just around the community here, but around the nation. Overnight, I went from being a small-town police chief to being a part of a conversation about racism, equality, and the role of policing in that conversation. I want to say this to the Brown family. No one who has not experienced the loss of a child can understand what you're feeling. I'm truly sorry for the loss of your son. I'm also sorry that it took so long to remove Michael from the street. The time that it took involved very important work on the part of investigators who are trying to collect evidence and gain a true picture of what happened that day. But it was just too long, and I'm truly sorry for that.
So we have another part of it that we'll get to, but let's first comment on this. Now, it's been 6 weeks since the shooting occurred. He puts out a very apologetic video. I've watched the entire thing. I've read the transcript. It's very heartfelt. It seems sincere. It's just curious that it comes out now, 6 weeks later. I'm not entirely sure why this is. Some people have gotten a little conspiratorial about it, what with Eric Holder stepping down, and
that guy wasn't privy to Eric Holder's decision.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if I'm buying into any conspiratorial hypotheses about this, but
the argument of why now could be made if he'd done it 3 weeks ago or in 3 weeks. Like we would always say, why now?
I think it would be less likely if it was the week after.
Right. What I'm going to guess now is that they're confident that that there's no violence there now, although the thing has been burned down once, the memorial, and run over. Maybe that's why. I mean, we don't know, but it could be what it usually is something incredibly simple, and it may well be him saying, "I want to apologize," and other people saying, "Don't do that," and he finally was like, "I'm just going to do it."
Yeah.
It was a pretty, that part of it at least is.
Yeah.
It does seem sincere. It doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't
really
strike me
change
as a good
anything,
actor. Like that had to be an incredibly hard video to make, I have to imagine.
And we read something early on that remember the guy who got beat up and then got charged with bleeding on the officers' uniforms? That guy's lawyer, who was like, this was waiting to happen in Ferguson. These cops are racist. It's been terrible in Ferguson for a long time. That cop said about Tom Jackson, Tom Jackson wasn't the chief when that incident happened. And that lawyer who defends people who accuse the Ferguson police of excessive force, almost all black, said Tom Jackson is much better, and Tom Jackson is trying, and he's in a difficult, so for whatever that's worth.
Fair enough. Let's watch the second part of the video.
There were many people who were upset about what happened in Ferguson and came here to protest peacefully. Unfortunately, there were others who had a different agenda. I do want to say to any peaceful protester who did not feel that I did enough to protect their constitutional right to protest, I am sorry for that. The right of the people to peacefully assemble is what the police are here to protect. If anyone who is peacefully exercising that right is upset and angry, I feel responsible and I'm sorry. I'm also aware of the pain and the feeling of mistrust felt in some of the African American community towards the police department. The city belongs to all of us and we all are part of this community. It is clear that we have much work to do. As a community, a city, and a nation, we have real problems to solve, not just in Ferguson, but the entire region and beyond. For any mistakes I have made, I take full responsibility. It's an honor to serve the city of Ferguson and the people who live there. I look forward to working with you in the future to solve our problems. And once again, I deeply apologize to the Brown family.
We criticize apologies a lot. I think it's going to be hard to make the case for criticizing that one. That's pretty much what you want to hear.
That was exactly what he should have said. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. It seemed sincere. He didn't seem disingenuous at all. So
also, to go back to this relates to your first question, why now? Like, why ever? Like, this wouldn't happen in most places. So the most likely reason is the most obvious reason, which is that this is a guy who felt like he should do this.
And maybe it took a while for him to think about it and to realize the part that he played in it.
And I bet he's facing, here's what I doubt very seriously, that those 54 officers in Ferguson are eager for him to do that.
Right.
So
that's true.
My hunch is he was fighting it among deputy chiefs or whoever it was or other cops, and that he finally just thought to do it. Or they hired a PR firm that told him to do it, and it's all fake. I doubt it. It seemed genuine.
It did seem genuine. You know, at the moment, of course, the local law enforcement in Ferguson, Missouri is a little torn on this issue. There are members of the police there that want to support Darren Wilson, and in doing so, they're wearing these bracelets that say that they stand with him, that they support him. And I don't know how I feel about that, because on one hand, I do see that as freedom of speech. You should be able to do it if you genuinely do feel that what he did was right in that scenario. I don't think what he did was right in that scenario. But it's hard for people to feel any type of sympathy or even empathy for members of that police force when you have cops wearing those bracelets.
Yeah. Knowing what that will be interpreted to mean. We want to see the cops wearing cameras, not flair.
Yeah. Yeah, I disagree with you, Anna, and I bet I can convince you. Like, I understand the sentiment of a cop who's a friend of Darren Wilson to want to stand with him, and I don't begrudge somebody standing with their friend, especially since we don't know all the circumstances.
Right.
I think we know them pretty well, though, since every witness says exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
But that said, while it's still being adjudicated, you can stand with him. You can stand with him afterwards, like, I'm so sorry you're in prison, Darren, right? And I'll bring you something. You were my friend. The cops have a much greater responsibility than the rest of us. They are serving that community, a community that is enraged, appropriately enraged, and a community that is on a regular basis until recently, and maybe still on the verge of erupting into some form of violence. And you were supposed to get those people to trust you. And to wear that thing is a giant fuck you.
Yeah.
And I would fire that cop instantly.
Wow.
Yeah. And by the way, you can't just wear whatever you want over your uniform.
Yeah, that's true, right.
You're not free to wear whatever bracelet
if that
you
cop
want.
wants to turn around and sue for wrongful termination, okay, and maybe he'd win. But here's what I would definitely do. And maybe you can't fire him. You're off the street. You wear that, fine. You sit here at a desk, you can answer the phone. You can't interact with one white or black member of the community wearing that. Like, I got it. You can feel that. You can believe it. You can think, I am with Darren Wilson. Keep it the fuck to yourself until this is settled.
Yeah.
And, so you're gone. And by the way, based on the Tom Jackson thing, my hunch is he's going to say something like that. Probably not you're fired or you're off the street, but take the goddamn bracelet off.
In 6 weeks.
And continue to portray. You want to,
I'm very sorry about the bracelets.
Yeah, the great thing is that now this wearing the bracelet is going to give Tom Jackson an opportunity to make another video, and he's pretty good at it.
Yeah.